Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Coffee With. I'm your host Christopher Evans. Today on Coffee With, I'm pleased to welcome the founder of LaPrima Espresso, Sam Patti. Sam, welcome to Coffee With.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, it's about time we have someone on this show that knows something about coffee. So tell us about LaPrima Espresso, how you got started and what you're up to.
Like everybody else, sometime in their life I was looking for a job. I had been teaching in Virginia. I came back to Pittsburgh. We had a baby. I needed something to do. I spent a good amount of time when I was doing graduate work in Italy, and I thought, boy, I really love espresso cappuccino. There's none in Pittsburgh. I think I'll do this. It's kind of an entrepreneurial story. So I was out in California with my wife, and we saw this cappuccino. I contacted this company, and I said, let's do it. So it was just one of those things that happens.
So tell us a little bit about the product itself. You guys are a small batch roaster.
We are a small batch roaster. We recently moved our roasting facility over to Manchester on the north side. When I started researching some of this stuff, I found out that the optimum roast was between 15 and 30 pounds, and so we bought ourselves a 30-pound roaster. We now have a second 30-pound roaster, but that's what we want to do. We just want to do small batches. We think there's enough of a market in the region to do what we want to do and do it well. We recently opened our first account in New York City, so I think that we would like to go to some of the major cities where we can connect with somebody that understands what we do, but we just want to keep it simple, small batch, and try to make everything work.
Sam, over the last 20 years, coffee seems to have exploded all over the country in popularity. What do you attribute that to?
You know, I think I attribute it to two things. If I think about the wine that was available when I was in college and the kind of beer that we drank when I was in college, and realized that, you know, before the coffee took off, we saw wine and beer becoming much more sophisticated. I think if you add that to Food Television Network, I think that explains just this desire for people to know more about what they're eating and drinking.
So Sam, what's more important then, coffee or wine?
Oh, I don't think it's a matter of being more important. I think it's a matter of, generally speaking, you drink your wine with your dinner, you drink your coffee after your dinner. And I think one of the new things that's going to happen are drinks, at least from Italy, called amari, which are digestivos. So we're going to see more of this kinds of stuff.
I love it. It sounds very enticing.
No, it is. It is. Yeah.
So why do people love LaPrima as a destination?
So I think that it's that desire for some place to relax where there's not alcohol maybe, and to meeting other people. One of the things I really love about LaPrima, and maybe it's just the luck of the draw in terms of where we're located, but we really have a cross culture of people.
So the dichotomy of people is important when choosing a location for a coffee shop. What else?
I remember several years ago reading an article, and the article talked about what is the most important thing to be concerned with in a coffee shop. The third most important thing was the coffee. So I think it's the atmosphere, it's the connectivity that you have you know, with the other people. And even with coffee, we try not to be condescending about our coffee. We want, and we make great efforts to have good coffee. But it's not all about, you know, drilling down so hard on the coffee you forget, look, this is a social thing. You come to our store at 8 o'clock in the morning on your way to work, you just say, look, I need a cup of coffee, I need to kick back, I've got a big day, and we want to be able to provide that kind of atmosphere.
Sam, is it difficult to compete against other neighborhood coffee shops and or the big Starbucks franchise type operations?
You know, I think anybody in business is always faced with this idea about, you know, not only what have you done in the past, but what's for tomorrow. I mean, imagine being a football coach. How many Super Bowls do you have to win before it doesn't matter anymore? So I just think it's always keeping your eye on the ball and you know, trying to pay attention to business, trying to pay attention to industry standards. And so, yeah, yes, it's hard, but it's part of being in business, I think.
So this marks your 26th year in business.
Right. We started in October of 1988. Mm-hmm.
Wow. What do you think the biggest surprise is over that course of time?
The industry changed, it grew, but when you think about how much it's grown, and I can remember when my wife and I first opened our shop, when we would see somebody on TV mention cappuccino or espresso, we went absolutely crazy. Because, oh yeah, you know, maybe we have a chance to do this. You know, when you think about the fact that I came into the market in 1988 when maybe a cup of coffee was 60 cents, and I was selling coffee for $1.60. People said, well, gee, you got to sell pastry or you got to sell American coffee. And I felt like if I did that, that would take away the attention. It was that idea that, you know, maybe this will really work. So the fact that it has worked has been a big surprise.
So being very authentic to the roots of a classic Italian style espresso and coffee bar.
You know, that's an interesting question. In terms of the popularity of coffee, we have known about, you know, let's say what we'd call commercial coffee, the Maxwell House and Folgers of the world, and then everything got upscaled. And the first big upscale, I think, was Starbucks. You know, that really brought out the recognition factor. So as opposed to saying, oh my gracious, Starbucks is coming in town, what am I going to do? We really welcomed them because they brought coffee to everybody's attention, the espresso and cappuccino. Now there's another movement that's called the third wave, where kids are going back to some of the traditional ideas, but they do things a little bit differently. What we have tried to do is hold to the idea of an Italian-style espresso bar.
Where do you see the business going in the next few years?
We feel like that maybe we can do you know, 1 or 2 more retail locations. We need to maintain our quality. I just read an article today in the New York Times talking about what they call royo, which is a you know, coffee plant disease. So we're going to have to face that. There's a drought in Brazil. So you know, there's always, you know, you asked the question earlier. There's always something to think about. Yeah. Keeping your eye on the ball.
Not dissimilar from wine.
No, not dissimilar from wine. Not dissimilar from any agricultural product. Not dissimilar from any business.
Well, Sam, it sounds like a great place to stop in and enjoy some delicious coffee. I can't wait to do that the next time I'm around. So thank you for joining us on our show, and continued success.
Thank you for the invitation, and come and enjoy a beautiful coffee at LaPrima.
Will do. And thank you for joining us on Coffee With.